أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين إنه خير ناصر ومعين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وخاتم النبيين وسيد المرسلين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين ولعنة الله الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من ليلتنا هذه إلى قيام يوم الدين السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين صلوات على محمد وعلى Respected Sheikh, elders, sisters, brothers in Islam and Iman, Salamun alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I would like to thank Sheikh Ibrahim for that inspiring speech. And I pray that Allah increases his knowledge and his guidance and enables him to continue his noble and sincere mission of spreading the words of Allah, the Quran, and the love of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. For his tawfiq, please say aloud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Tonight, brothers and sisters, I'd like to take a one-night departure from the main topic that we've been discussing regarding living in a culture of instant gratification. Instead, I would like to address specifically one aspect regarding the concept of unity with the brothers and sisters of the Ahl-e-Sunnah. This is a time when we are being called upon by our leaders, by the Maraji', to unite. Because after all, we have a common ground, we have a common mission, and we also have a common opponent as well too. You heard in the announcement previous to the lecture some quotes from Ayatul Sistani, may Allah protect him, regarding this matter. The other Maraji' are saying exactly the same thing. They're speaking in one voice regarding the matter. In a recent message that was delivered in the Hajj, Ayatollah Khamenei, may Allah protect him, says that I, like many Islamic scholars and sympathetic personalities in the Islamic Ummah, announce that any statement or action which fuels the fire of discord among Muslims, any insult to the sacred beliefs of each one of the Muslim denominations, and any act of takfirism, meaning calling somebody else a kafir, against Islamic denominations equals serving the camp of atheism. It's equivalent to doing kufr and polytheism and shirk and betraying Islam. And all these things are haram. Now, despite this statement, other strong statements from our leaders, from our Maraji', we still find among some of the followers of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, this notion that somehow these statements are meant for the public, but actually when it comes to our private sort of lives and our private gatherings, we need to take and adopt a different stance. Now, I want to make it clear here that when we're approaching this topic and we're talking about unity, we're not saying that the Shias and the Sunnis believe and agree upon every single matter. That's not the point. Even within Shiism, even within the scholars of the Shia, you have disagreement, but yet they are united under one banner, which is the banner of Shia Islam. Similarly, when it comes to the Shia school of thought and the Sunni school of thought, there are disagreements. There are differences of opinion. And there are matters which are of significant debate and discussion. But that doesn't mean that when it comes to the matter of common ground, there is no unity. Now, what I want to specifically address is the following. That we as followers of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, when it comes to how we should treat the matter of unity versus discord, let us turn to the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam themselves and see how they used to operate. What was their seerah? What pattern of life, what did they leave us as a legacy for how we should be viewing and acting with the Ahl-e-Sunnah? I want to just mention tonight two traditions which I think are very eye-opening for us. And anybody who calls themselves a lover of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, they really need to study these and see how it is that they can match this with sometimes some of the unfortunate actions that you see among the followers of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, where in private gatherings, for example, or in whisper behind people's backs, they talk about things differently than what they show in their outward sort of front-facing character. The first tradition is reported in the book Al-Kafi, and this tradition is reported in a few different places in Al-Kafi as well as other books as well. And it's capturing a dialogue that happened between one of the companions of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam by the name of Zurara. It's between Zurara and Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Zurara was one of the greatest companions of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. He was one of the fuqaha of the Ahlul Bayt. However, this issue of how it is that a Shia should view a Sunni was something that wasn't crystal clear for him. He too was confused about this issue. So one time, he engages in a discussion with Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. And he puts forward this claim that the only believer and the only person who qualifies as being a Muslim is somebody who accepts your wilayah, who is a Shia, and everyone else is a kafir. This is the claim that he's making, he's presenting to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. How is it that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam corrects his belief? He goes to the Quran. He refers to the Quran, he invites Zurara to ponder upon the message of the Quran. He says to him, he says that Allah says in the Quran, هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَكُمْ فَمِنْكُمْ كَافِرٌ وَمِنْكُمْ مُؤْمِنٌ. Okay, and then he quotes another verse of the Quran. He says in the Quran, Allah says, خَلَطُوا عَمَلًا صَالِحًا وَآخِرَ سَيِّئًا. وَآخَرَ سَيِّئًا. He quotes another verse of the Quran. He says, إِلَّا الْمُسْتَضْعَفِينَ مِنَ الرِّجَالِ وَالنِّسَاءِ وَالْوِلْدَانِ لَا يَسْتَطِيعُونَ حِيلَةً وَلَا يَهْتَدُونَ سَبِيلًا. What is he trying to get Zurara to think about? He's trying to get him to think that, okay, in the Quran, when Allah describes a mu'min isn't just somebody who is of one degree, but rather, mu'mineen are of different levels. There's different levels of understanding and awareness for the mu'mineen. There's some, for example, in the Quran, خَلَطُوا عَمَلًا صَالِحًا وَآخَرَ سَيِّئًا. They are trying their best with respect to performing some acts of goodness, but yet they also have some room to grow as well too. They are performing some actions which are evil as well too. In the other verses as well too, Imam al-Islam is trying to invite Zurara to think and ponder what is the message of the Quran. Is it the case that it's simply anybody who doesn't accept our wilayah is a kafir? No. Now Zurara is insisting in his viewpoint. It shows us that Zurara was somebody who liked to challenge his teacher, not in a disrespectful way. He wanted to be convinced of the truth. He challenges him. He says that no, it's only somebody's either a mu'min or he's a kafir. The Imam al-Islam comes back to him. He argues with him, argues with him. And then finally he was sitting at a distance. Finally he goes to him and he explains very clearly to him that Zurara, what I'm saying is that when it comes to paradise and hell, it's not a simple equation. No, there's something beyond that. There's room for people to grow. There's room for people to understand that people have a lack of awareness and understanding, and you cannot make such a clear-cut division between those who accept our wilayah and those who don't. Please say salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. This is tradition number 1. Now, tradition number 2 is regarding the matter of eating from the food of the Ahl-e-Sunnah. Sometimes you see, again, people, followers of the Ahlul Bayt in Islam, who have a desire to be purified. They want to do things in the best way possible, pleasing Allah. And therefore they want to make sure that everything that they do is halal. Everything that all the food that they take in is also halal as well too. Now question, is it allowed for us to take the food and buy the meat, for example, from somebody who is a Muslim but is not a Shia? Okay? Now all the maraji have very clear-cut fatwas on this issue. That yes, it is permissible. There's nothing like that of where you only have to, for example, buy your meat from a Shia person. But sometimes people come and say that, okay, no, that's a matter of allowance, meaning that it's permissible, but we want to go beyond that level. We want to go at even a higher level. We want to make sure that everything we eat is extremely purified. And not only will we not buy such food or such meat from those who are not Shia, but we won't even go to your house if you are a Shia but you have bought your meat from the non-Shia. In fact, not only that, we're going to call you from beforehand and make sure that you tell us where you do your groceries and your grocery shopping, and only then we're going to be able to decide whether we're going to accept your invitation or not. Now this is unfortunate, okay, because when we go and look at the traditions of the Ahlul Bayt of Islam, we see that a completely different picture. Please say salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. This tradition is reported from the 5th Imam alayhi salam. One of his companions asks him about buying cheese from the bazaar. Now we have to understand the context of this tradition. Imam Baqir alayhi salam was living in Medina. Medina is a place where we have Muslims of all different backgrounds, coming from all different places. And the majority of the people who live in Medina are not those who are Shia of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. He asks him about buying cheese from the bazaar. Now the Imam alayhi salam explains some things to him about what is halal and what is haram. But the point I want to focus in on is this one line from the Imam alayhi salam. He says the following, he says, Wallahi, I swear by God, Inni la'a'taridu suq. I myself go to the bazaar, go to the market. فَأَشْتَرِي بِهَا اللَّحْمَ وَالسَّمْنَ وَالْجُبُنَ. I myself buy from there, from the bazaar. I buy meat, and I buy butter, and I buy cheese. Wallahi, he goes on to say, Wallahi, I swear by God, مَا أَظُنُّ كُلَّهُمْ يُسَمُّونَ هَذِهِ الْبَرْبَرُ وَهَذِهِ السُّودَانِ. He says that I see in that bazaar that there's some people coming from foreign lands. People maybe who just have found out about Islam. And I even think that perhaps they did not slaughter the animal with saying Bismillah. Maybe they're not aware of those rulings. The Imam alayhi salam is saying this. But yet I still go and buy the meat, the cheese, and the butter from them. Now if we are followers of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, then shouldn't we follow them even when it comes to this matter as well too? Is there something like a secret sort of secondary fiqh that only special people know about when it comes to these things that we have to follow? No. Clearly, the ruling is the same as what the Maraja are telling us, that when it comes to buying, if it's a Muslim who gives it to you, then you can trust them and you don't have to question any further. Please say salawat ala Muhammad wa ala. The matter of unity, brothers and sisters, is so important. It's so essential. I'll just give you one example from the Quran, and then inshallah we'll move into the musibat portion of tonight's lecture. When Nabi Musa alayhi salam leaves his people to go engage in a special communion with his Lord, he's invited. The people wait for 30 days because that was the promised amount of time. Allah extends that for 10 more days. The people get impatient. Samiri takes advantage of the situation and he unveils this calf which makes a special sound, and they become attracted by that and they start to worship it. When Nabi Musa comes back, he's upset. And he questions Harun, his brother. He says that, I'm paraphrasing, that I put you in charge of these people. I expected that they would remain true to the cause. What happened to them? What is the reason that Nabi Harun gives for allowing this to happen and for not taking a harsher stance on the matter? He says that I feared that you will tell me that farraqta bayni wa bayna bani Israel, that I was the cause of there being a division and there being disunity among the Bani Israel. Meaning, for the sake of unity, I had to tolerate the presence of these calf worshippers among us. Otherwise, the entire ummah of your ummah, O Nabi Musa, that would have been split up. That's the level of importance that we have of unity. And after he gives that excuse, Nabi Musa accepts it as well too. And he does a dua for him as well too. That's a level of importance that we have of unity. Let us take these statements of our Marajia and our leaders with great seriousness, and inshallah put them into action. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله صلى الله عليك يا ابن رسول الله صلى الله عليك وعلى أخيك أبي الفضل العباس بن أمير المؤمنين. Tonight, brothers and sisters, we've gathered here to remember one of the most tragic and one of the most poignant scenes in the event of Karbala, which is the martyrdom of Abul Fadl Abbas ibn Amir al-Mu'mineen. What is it that's so special about Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam? Is it the fact that he was known as Qamaru Bani Hashim? That of all the people who were the members of the Ahlul Bayt, the family of light, this family of beauty, that he was known as the Qamar, he was known as the moon? Is it this that made him special? Was it the fact that Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam was known to be a very strong warrior? They say in one historical report that when he would mount on the horse, his feet would be touching the ground. Is this the reason? Is it the case that Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam, because he was the standard bearer of the army, that of all those valiant men, of all those men who had so much experience in warfare, had fought so many times against the enemy, he was chosen to be the one who would be the standard bearer, which in the army was the position of only, it was important only, and it was the most importance only to the commander-in-chief. It was a very important position. It was all that, but even more. We see in a ziyarah that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, when he wants to talk about Hazrat Abbas, when he wants to send his salams to Hazrat Abbas, how does he address him? He says, As-salamu alayka ayyuha al-abdu as-salih. As-salamu ala abil fadl al-Abbas al-muwasi akhahu binafsih. He says to him that my salams to you, O the one who is that servant of God, who is completely and purely righteous. He says, my salams to you, the one, Abul Fadl Abbas, who gave everything and sacrificed everything and gave his utmost, he gave himself for the sake of his brother. You see what Hazrat Abbas was? He was an abd of Allah. Whatever it is that Allah wanted him to do, he acted upon it. Whatever it is that his brother wanted him to do, the Imam of his time asked him to do, Hazrat Abbas gave everything and had no hesitation. He followed the order of the Imam of the time in a complete and absolute sort of way. If we want to know what the status of Hazrat Abbas is, we can go and look at what Imam Hussein says about him. It was on the day of Ashura when Imam Hussein addresses Hazrat Abbas and he tells him at one point when the army is advancing, he tells him, this was the day before Ashura, on the day of Tasu'ah, he says that, oh Hazrat Abbas, go and see why are they coming towards us? Go and see what they want from us. Look at what he says to him. He says, Irkab bi nafsi anta ya akhi. This is an Imam who is ma'asum. He tells him that, oh, my brother, may I myself be sacrificed for you. You go and ride and see what they have to say. Some of the scholars, on the basis of this statement right here, they say that Hazrat Abbas was a ma'asum. Because only a ma'asum would be deserving of another ma'asum saying that may I be sacrificed for you, O my brother. This was the status of Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam. And on the 9th of Muharram, when Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam and his brothers are given an opportunity to escape, Shimr la'natullahi alayh happens to be related to them. He is some sort of an uncle to them from the side of Hazrat Abbas's mother. He's an uncle. He comes to them, he calls them forward, he says, come to me, my nephews, and he offers them a secure escape from the army of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. How is it that Hazrat Abbas and his brothers respond? They say, La'anakallahu wa la'ana amanak. May Allah deprive you of His mercy and may your guarantee of safety be cursed. Atu'minuna wabna Rasulillahi la amana lahu? You're giving us, you want to promise us with some safety, while here you have the son of the messenger of Allah and he doesn't have any safety? This is just a small sample of the loyalty that Hazrat Abbas has. A small sample of the devotion he has to Imam Hussein in his cause. Let us see how it is that he demonstrated this fully on the day of Ashura. On the day of Ashura, one by one the companions give their lives for Imam Hussein. Then it comes time for the family of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimussalam. One by one they too go forward. Ali Akbar alayhi salam, Hazrat Qasim, Awnan Muhammad. One by one they go forward. They show their bravery, but eventually they become martyrs. Finally, Abbas alayhi salam tells his brothers, there were 3 brothers, they were all the sons of Baneen and Imam Ali alayhi salam. He tells them that you go forward, let me witness your sincerity and devotion to Allah and the Messenger. They go forward, but eventually they are also struck down. Now it is only Abbas alayhi salam standing there. He sees that Imam Hussein alayhi salam has very few left to support him. He goes forward to his brother. He asks him, he addresses him. He tells him that my heart has become constricted and I've grown tired of my life. Will you allow me to seek revenge for the blood that has been spilled today? It seems that Imam Hussein alayhi salam was anticipating this moment. فَبَكَى الْحُسَيْنُ بُكَاءً شَدِيدًا. Imam Hussein begins to weep so much. He tells him, Ya akhi, anta sahibu liwa'i. Oh my brother, you are the standard bearer. وَإِذَا مَضَيْتَ تَفَرَّقَ عَسْكَرِي. Oh Abbas, if you were to go, then I would have no one left in my army. But Abbas alayhi salam insists that he must go. Eventually Imam Hussein tells him that, okay, if you're going to go, then I have one request for you. You see these children here, please go get some water. Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam is advancing. Maybe he is hearing the cry of the children. Maybe he is now imagining the thirst of Ali Asghar and Sakina. He addresses them, he tells them, this is Hussein. This is the son of Fatima. You have killed his companions and family. His children, what crime did they commit? Give them some water. But they will not give him any water. Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam has been given a mission by Imam Hussein to get some water. He must have looked forward and seen the river in front of him being guarded by thousands of soldiers. Perhaps he looks back and sees the children of the Ahlul Bayt crying for water. He has the command of his Imam. What is he going to do? He mounts his horse and goes forward. I do not know how he does it, but this is the son of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Somehow Abbas alayhi salam managed to go through thousands of soldiers. Some say 4,000, some say 10,000. Abbas alayhi salam reaches the banks of the river. He takes out the water skin and he puts some water in it. What's going to happen now? Perhaps he could justify taking some water. The thought goes through his mind that I am thirsty. Maybe he could justify it. But immediately tells him that how can I possibly taste water when my master Imam Hussein alayhi salam is thirsty? He turns back, he wants to take the water back to the children and the camp of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He cries out in a loud voice, Inni ana al-Abbas, aghdu bis-saqa. I am Abbas, I have the water skin with me, I'm going to come back. Even if death were to meet me, I'm not scared of death. He takes the water skin, he hangs it on his right shoulder. He starts to return back to the tents. Abbas alayhi salam is coming back. Perhaps the enemy knows that if he is able to take water back to the camp, then there will be no stopping him and Imam Hussein if they have been given water. They make it a point that we double their efforts to do something to stop this. Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam is alone, one man among thousands of soldiers. Eventually, a sword is taken and it strikes his body. What happens to him? He cries out, Wallahi in qata'atum yamini. I swear by Allah, if you cut off my right hand, inni uhami abadan an dini, I'm always going to defend my religion. Wa an imamin sadiq al-yaqini. And upon this I'll defend my Imam, Najd al-Nabi al-Tahir al-Amini. He is a descendant of your Prophet after all. They cut off his right hand. Abbas alayhi salam is not going to give up. He moves the water skin to his left shoulder. He continues fighting. He fights so bravely. There is one among the enemy who is not going to let him go back with the water. He hides behind a tree. When Abbas ﷺ passes the tree, he comes from behind and ambushes him. He strikes Abbas ﷺ. He hits the left arm of Abbas. Abbas cries out, Ya nafsi la takhshay min al-kuffar. Oh my soul, do not fear these kuffar. Wa abshi bi rahmat al-jabbar. Your solace is the mercy of Allah. You will be with the Prophet soon. قَدْ قَطَعُوا بِبَغْيِهِمْ يَسَارِي. They've cut off my left hand. فَأَصْلِهِمْ يَا رَبِّ حَرَّ النَّارِ. Oh Allah, put them into the fire of the hell. What is he going to do now? He has no hands. According to historical reports, he takes the water skin in his teeth. He makes his way back to this camp. But the arrows start to fire in. One arrow comes in and it pierces the water skin. Another one strikes his chest. One of the soldiers takes his mace and he strikes him on his head. Abbas ﷺ falls to the ground. These are the last moments, but his mind and his thoughts are only with his brother, only with the Imam of his time. He cries out, Alayka minni salam ya Aba Abdullah. I convey my salams to you, O Abu Abdullah. Imam Hussein alayhi salam rushes to the place where Abbas is lying on the ground. I cannot imagine the sight that he is seeing. Imam Hussein alayhi salam cries out, Al-an inkasara dhahri wa qallat hilati. My backbone has been broken. What am I going to do now? He cries out, who is there to defend the family of the messenger? Who will come to our assistance now? Sakina alayhi salam comes out. She asks her Baba, oh my Baba, where's my uncle? Perhaps she was thinking that he's going to bring the water soon. Zainab alayhi salam begins to cry out, oh my brother, oh Abbas. All the women are weeping. After all, the flag that was flying, the flag that was being born has now fallen to the ground. According to historical reports, after some time, news reaches Medina. News reaches Medina of what took place in Karbala. Among those people in Medina is a lady named Baneen. Baneen was the mother of Abbas. When she gets the news of what took place, she goes to Jannatul Baqi. And there she composes some poetry. What is it that she says? She says, La tad'uwni wayki al-Baneen. Don't call me al-Baneen anymore. Don't call me the mother of these sons anymore. But instead, I am the one who has lost her sons. كانت بنون لي أدعى بهم. I used to have these sons and I used to be called Baneen because of them. واليوم أصبحت ولا من بنينا. Today I have no more sons anymore. She has only one question though. What is her question? يا ليت شعري أكما أخبروا. I just want one question. If only I knew, is it true what they're saying? What are they saying? بأن عباسا قطيع اليمين. Is it true that when Abbas was killed, they cut off his right hand? ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. Ya Abbas,